biggest news to come out of yesterday is that Josina Anderson, and I have to look because I forget who it is Josina Anderson works for now. Who does she work for?
I believe it's CBS Sports.
Okay. She definitely does do some work for CBS Sports. Josina Anderson, longtime NFL reporter, tweeted out, I'm told the Patriots are monitoring the trade market to potentially add talent at wide receiver, defensive tackle, or tackle on the heels of the rousing 25-20.
Come on. You didn't need to put rousing in there.
When I read that yesterday, I did laugh. I'm like, wait, rousing? Of the rousing 25-22 win over the New York Jets per source. Trade deadline is next week, November 5th at 4 p.m. That is Josina Anderson. She tagged Bovada on it, so I don't know if she works for Bovada as well. But listen, Josina Anderson has NFL sources. She's reported on the NFL for some time, and she is hearing the Patriots are in to add, which goes against what was reported just a few days ago prior to the game against the Jets, which was the Patriots are open for business.
A fire sale, yeah.
We will sell off any pieces, and you would think that the trade of Joshua Uche this week would indicate that they are moving pieces that could be valuable to contenders. So I don't get it. I don't know if we should buy the report. If it is true, is that the right thing for the New England Patriots? And I think there is a scenario in which it's the right thing, and that is there is a player who's available who's not going into free agency. There's a player that's got term left on his contract, and they would like to get that player into the building and playing here in an attempt to re-sign that player. But it's got to be someone hugely impressive to be doing deals at the deadline when the prices are the highest, because those players that are under contract could just as easily be traded this coming offseason than right now. This is the time of year you go buying if you're a contender and you need to add pieces, and you got to pay a premium at the deadline to do it. So I'm sort of hesitant to buy in that this thing is real, that they're really going after tackle, that they're going after wide receiver again. Now? You're going to do that now? I mean, let's see. Let's see if there's a receiver who becomes available who's really good and has time left.
I don't know who that receiver will be, especially now that we've seen some of them move, and Deontay Johnson getting moved yesterday, going to the Ravens. But when you look at some of the prices for these players, it goes back to what we talked about with the Davante Adams thing a few weeks ago. And that is, I understand that player might not be a long-term solution here. But if you can add a talented player to help showcase Drake May for a low-round pick, let's talk a 5th, 6th rounder or something like that, and bring a guy in here that's going to make your young quarterback look better and also make the Patriots more of a destination for those free agents that you might actually go splurge on or a big-time trade this offseason, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Now, it's got to be the right player, and it's got to be somebody that's not going to be disgruntled and upset that he's going to a place that, obviously isn't going to win at a high level. But if you can bring in a guy that's willing to kind of showcase his talents for that next big contract and buy in with Drake May, they should absolutely be kicking the tires on it, for sure.
But take Deontay Johnson as the example. Deontay Johnson's going into free agency. That move would make no sense for the Patriots, even if they could bring him in for, what was it, a 5th and a 6th they gave up to get him? Giving up a 5th and a 6th to get him here in an attempt to play him with Drake May for the second half of the season, and then what? He hits free agency anyway, and he's not going to be motivated to stick with you.
No, but doesn't that make the Patriots more of an attractive potential option for a receiver? If you buy into Drake May and think that he's going to be a stud quarterback, if you see in the second half of the season, wow, he lit it up with Deontay Johnson, you know what? I'm T. Higgins. Yeah. I'll go play with Drake May now. I saw that what he can do with a receiver that actually has talent.
All right, is that worth the 5th and a 6th?
To me, it is. Yeah. If it makes you a more attractive option moving forward, I think it does.
The only thing I would say is that given the draft track record now of this front office outside of Drake May, which I don't give them a lot of credit for drafting Drake May. I know some people do. I don't. After that pick, they really didn't do much in this draft. So maybe they're not good at drafting and should move their picks for just about anything. Maybe that should be considered. That a 5th or 6th round pick, Yeah. What are these guys going to do with it anyway?
I'll tell you what, it feels like there was a lot of time spent hammering Bill Belichick for N'Keal Harry and all the decision-making and his ability to draft wide receivers. You look at the two that just came off the board this past draft, not exactly stellar selections there by Elliott Wolf to this point. So I'm with you. If you have an ability to go out there and make this a more attractive roster for a short period of time and showcase Drake May, I think you should be in on it.
All right, so does the health of Drake May factor into this? Because it should.
Yes.
What if Drake May suffered what we have no reason to believe it's serious, a really bad concussion? It's not the type of incident that happened with, let's say, Tua.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't one of those types of really bad one. But what if it is? What if he got hit hard enough that he is, going to miss 3 weeks? What if that's what happened? Does that factor into the decision?
To me, that would change the landscape a little bit. But if it's a regular, he's going to miss this week, and that also gives you an ability to kind of get up and running with this new receiver. And now for the second half of the season, here we go. It's Drake May and this player that you brought in. I'm all for it. Yeah.
I also think that the receiver position is just so sort of short on this team.
It's going to be so hard to upgrade this talent on the roster, with what they have, for sure. Yeah, I mean, after the performance last Sunday, I don't know how you could.
Well, I just wonder if we're thinking like in the wrong terms in terms of who they might go after, right? Maybe there are receivers that are third and fourth and fifth receivers on another team that could be had for next to nothing that they go after because they think it's better than the talent they have. Sort of what they did with their offensive line, right? They're picking guys up off the street.
Fair.
They're trying to, pluck guys off practice squads from elsewhere, which they've done. Is that kind of the move that maybe, they're going to be buyers at receiver. They're going to be buyers at tackle, as Josina Anderson is saying, except we're thinking about it in the type of trades that typically happen at the deadline, which is quality players moving. Maybe these are just bottom of the roster moves that they're trying to make.
It's like a KJ Osborne for a KJ Osborne type of player, you're saying? Yeah, that third or fourth receiver on another team. I would want someone that again, you would look at and say, you know what, that's going to be an impact player here for Drake May and a potential game changer for this offense, and not just another third or fourth receiver that we've seen, it feels like, every single season with the New England Patriots since Tom Brady walked out the door.
Mike Dussel of Patriots.com wrote that he would not trade for T. Higgins and would follow the Packer way, my friends. I got to get the book. I think I left it in the car. The Packer way. He writes, the Patriots very obviously need a wide receiver upgrade. If T. Higgins becomes available at the deadline, does it make sense to part ways with a 2025 second rounder and maybe something in 2025? Might be the closest the Bengals get to a first for T. Higgins. That's actually the question in his mailbag. And he writes, nope. Just be patient until the offseason. Higgins has been battling injuries all season long. He's only played in 5 games. It looks like the Bengals could choose to move on from him, and the season is spiraling away. He says, I'm personally moving away from coveting everyone else's 1A or 1B receivers. None of the receivers the Patriots have been connected to in recent seasons have done all that much this year. He cites Ayuk before the injury.
Yep.
He cites Higgins. He talks about Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins and how these maybe 1B types and not completely distinguishable one ace top receivers are really the guys that you want to stay away from. Those 1B guys are not the guys that are going to change your team. I would disagree because those 1A guys don't come up very often, and you have to make a trade for them. And so I think that kind of goes to like the philosophy here. Should they be trying to upgrade no matter what? Should they be trying that because it's just so bad, the worst receiver group in the NFL?
Yes.
Like if you're at the bottom, sorry, you are a beggar. You can't be a chooser. That's how I feel about the situation.
Look, and Mike's right, by the way. All those receivers have underachieved. I would say that Ayuk wasn't up and running because he missed all of training camp, right? That's how I would explain that away. And the two guys in Tennessee, it's because Will Levis is your quarterback. I finally here in New England have a quarterback that I think can elevate talent, which is a huge game changer when we're talking about these receivers. So when you bring in a guy like T. Higgins, all of a sudden I pair him with a Drake May and he gets elevated. And now you're not talking about Mac Jones having the talent elevate that quarterback. It's the other way around, which I think changes things.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.